welcome to Storyboard. This is Shibani Gharat. COVID-19 has altered the way in which we talk, we walk, we work or even shop. And it will most definitely have a long-term impact on the way in which we advertise. To tell us more today, we have with us the CEO of the largest advertising holding company in the world, WPP. Joining us straight from London, we have with us Mark Reed on Storyboard today. Mark, welcome to Storyboard.
Great, thanks for having me.
Mark, Britain has moved further towards easing the lockdown restrictions. What is it like in London currently?
You know, when you go out in London today, it feels pretty busy actually. It's not quite back to normal, but it's a lot busier than it was, you know, nine or 10 weeks ago when we sent 100,000 people around the world, you know, to work from home. So I think, you know, but there's no way in which things are getting back to normal. You know, restaurants are closed, shops are still closed, hairdressers are closed, dentists are closed. So while people are sort of going into work, you know, there's no sense that the city is yet back to normal.
So, Mark, some of the markets that WPP operates in have also started opening up. What is it like? You know, what is this unlock like for WPP agencies? How have employees started going back to work? And you know, what are the operational level challenges currently that you guys are facing? And has the operation changed for good?
Well, look, I think, you know, to answer the last question first, clearly it's going to change for good. You know, when we sent, you know, March 16th, sent 100,000 people home, it's easier to go into a lockdown, I think we're all finding out, than it is to come out of the lockdown. China, which was the first country to go into the lockdown, has also been the first to come out. And, you know, you have to commend the Chinese health authorities or Chinese authorities, you know, for the rigorous measures they took and the control they got over the virus. I did a town hall with our people in Shanghai last week, and, you know, while people are wearing masks, you got the sense that things are back to normal. But even in China, they're not totally back to normal. Our offices are probably running at about 80% occupancy rate at the moment compared to, you know, 100% pre-COVID. We're out of the office for 3 to 4 weeks. You know, the sense is that, you know, consumer activity is picking up. But I think that confidence does take some time to recover. It is going to take time for confidence to grow and for the various parts of the economy as they unlock to have a positive effect on each other, as it will similarly for the global economy. You know, when we have some markets, you know, locked down and a lot further behind than others, we need a sort of coordinated economic recovery around the world to get back to, you know, where we were at the beginning of the year, and that may take 18 to 24 months, unfortunately.
And what are the key learnings from this unlock that can be applied as a model into the other markets as well?
Look, I think that you know, it has to be voluntary, it has to be gradual. We have to make sure our offices are safe. We have to think about how people get into the office, you know, not just when they are in the office. You know, I think there is a spectrum of people. You know, for every person I know that's sort of reluctant to come into the office, there's someone that's really dying to get back in. And, you know, senior executives that live in nice houses with gardens may feel differently from our more junior people that probably live in apartments, sometimes, you know, with their parents or many other people who really are keen to get back into the office. So I think we have to cater to, you know, a wide variety of, you know, people.
You know, how much has been the impact of COVID-19 on the revenue already, and what is the further impact that you expect on the WPP business in the coming days?
We did see some impact in the first quarter, in February and March in China, and in March in most other parts of the world. And I think we expect, like most people, the second quarter to be the worst quarter of the year, and we need to see, you know, gradual recovery in Q3 and Q4, but we still, you know, expect, you know, a negative impact, you know, on our revenues over that period. And I think that, you know, that is the, you know, unfortunate reality of the situation, you know, really we have to deal with.
Okay, what has been the strategy of survival so far for WPP, and how are you going to apply it in the coming days?
Our focus has been on our people and keeping them safe, on our clients and making sure that we take them ideas. You know, there is a reason to market at the moment. You know, consumers do expect to hear from companies about what they're doing. You know, I think that those companies that are, you know, financially strong and can afford to market will benefit disproportionately from their investments. And that's certainly something that we're hearing from clients at the moment. And also, this is the greatest period of innovation perhaps we've ever seen. We've seen a decade's innovation in 8 weeks. And so those companies that are understanding, in real time, the changes in consumer behavior will be those that benefit. We've also been focusing on the communities and places around where we live. I know in India, we've seen work from Ogilvy with the government on Mask Force. Wunderman Thompson has done a campaign with Times of India. We need to think about this in terms of sort of 3 phases. The first phase is I'd call react. The second is recover, and the third is renew. And that's what we talk to our clients about. And the react phase, I think, is over. I think people at the moment are focused on, okay, how do we think about the recovery? But I think what's much more interesting is how they think about renewing their business, how clients think about, how they're going to need to operate in the future. So, our people have been, really very resilient through this and have kept busy and have kept talking to clients and to each other. So, I think it's too far to call it, prospering, but I think that people have managed extremely well.
How are you managing costs at WPP?
Clearly, with our revenue impacted, we needed to take cost action, and we really have an approach of really looking at different scenarios for our costs. And the first was to stop hiring and limit pay increases and look at discretionary expenses like travel and award shows that can be quite substantial in our industry. So we worked our way through that. We have put a number of people on 4-day or 3-day working weeks where it's appropriate. And we have also had a number of our senior executives, about 3,000 people across the group, take salary sacrifice or pay cuts in the second quarter. And we're going to look again at that and see what's appropriate in that area for the rest of the year. Okay. The last thing we've done is an important point. The last thing we've done is looking at permanent headcount reduction. We have had to reduce our headcount, and we are looking at what the likely size of the business is going into next year, and making sure that by the end of the year, through a mix of turnover and permanent headcount reduction, we are in a good place to right size our costs to our revenue base next year.
You've spoken extensively on how important India as a market is for WPP. Can you give us an insight on the kind of work that has come out of India during the COVID time, and how has the Indian market fared in terms of business for your organization?
I think, India has been impacted. It's a very heavily media-driven market, so there's no way that it has escaped this. I mentioned some of the work that we've done for our communities. We've also been working extensively with Hindustan Lever, on their response to the crisis. We did some very nice work, I thought, for Mondelez to say thank you through a chocolate bar. So there's a number of sort of creative examples. I think that in India we're seeing much greater demand, or much greater television viewing, the TV viewing up 50%, but also a lot of growth in the over-the-top services. We've been helping grocers move their business online and hyper-local delivery systems. So really kind of helping the whole Indian ecosystem move much more quickly online, frankly, in the same way that we did elsewhere. I was a little bit nervous, when the lockdown happened. I talked to Srini, our India country manager, about sending everybody home. But, we did it, and we sent people home with equipment, and people have continued to work, really extremely effectively from their clients. I think we're very reluctant to make permanent headcount reduction in India. It's a fantastic market for us. It's a great growth market. We have excellent talent. So as much as we can, we're trying to protect the people that we have in the business.
Tell us what is happening to the marketing budgets globally. Big events are getting cancelled, production of goods and, of course, production of TV shows, even on OTT platforms, on television, has really stopped. So where are marketers investing, and what is really happening to all those allotted marketing budgets for this year?
What we saw in 08, 09, particularly in newspapers, and I know that it's a big category in India that's still proven resilient. Clients cut their spend in newspapers by 40 or 50%. They never went back. And I think, my concern for free-to-air broadcasters is if budgets get cut substantially, will they ever come back in the same way? Particularly the magazine business has been impacted. They have a heavy luxury goods quotient there. And those companies are really struggling, both because of the lockdown, and the situation in China and the lack of travel, because duty-free is a big source of demand for them. So, we are seeing, really negative impacts on advertising spend, pretty much across the board to a differing degree. But I do think that those clients, as I said before, who are ready to come back quickly will be those clients that benefit. And we've seen in previous, downturns that those companies that, maintained their investment. And by the way, in an era of declining prices, maintaining your investment means typically you increase your share of voice. Increasing your share of voice will benefit. Marketing is an investment, and I think we're seeing that. I think the other interesting thing is I saw the Expedia results call. They said that clearly they're not spending a lot of money on search and digital media, and they're finding actually that their brand investments are driving and continue to drive significant traffic to their site. So I think some clients are looking at the continued investment in brand over direct response as something that they want to continue. So it's really going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of clients' marketing spend.